Hi guys, welcome to this week's update. What is today? Today is Sunday, May 23rd, and I believe we're at week 20 or 21. Honestly, I don't remember. Trying something a little different today. I am out on my front porch. Now we do have kind of a busy street, well, a street next to us, and I don't know how busy that's going to be, and I don't know how much that's going to affect the sound quality, but I'm gonna give it a try because I kind of liked filming outside, and I'm like, oh hey, guess what, my camera goes wherever I want it to. So I'm sitting out on the front porch today and just kind of trying to enjoy a little bit of outdoor time. I just had to run to Lowe's because, I mean, that has become my life with the garden. The garden is, you know, at a pause point or at maintenance level and beautification, but I did need some stakes to help hold up things like the eggplants and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna end up like pausing every time I hear a car coming just so that I don't try and talk over them. So yeah, I went to Lowe's today and stopped by Dunkin'. And if you notice, I have a little sleeve on my iced coffee cup. I don't know if I've talked about this before. It's called a Java sock, and it's like one of my favorite things. Not sponsored, just happened to hear about them and got one, and I love it. Let's see, so yeah, so trip out to the garden center for the garden today. And what has been going on this week? Well, it was a busy week at work. Deadlines, actually past deadlines, so I had to really slam through some work the first part of the week. And yeah, so it was kind of tiring. I got one page drawn for the coloring book, which means me 3 left before layout and cover. And am I procrastinating on that? Yeah, a little bit. It's not that I don't want to finish it. I do. And I will. But oof, there's a lot that comes with finishing the book. And it's something that I've been trying to kind of work through as best I can. You see, I kind of had like a light bulb moment. Cars. So I had a bit of a light bulb moment earlier this week, looking back at some of my past projects and where they stalled. And invariably where they stalled was the promotion, was the marketing side. Yeah. I don't know, maybe this wasn't a good idea, guys. I'm gonna stick it out. We'll see. So yeah, marketing was definitely the issue. I've taken the classes, I've done the workshops, I've read the books. I know what to do, I know how to do it. That's not the problem. The problem is follow through. And it's not even that, I mean, okay, knowing now about the ADHD and the inherent problems of the ADHD brain when it comes to following through with some tasks, okay, yes, that plays a part. But really, when it comes right down to it, it's me. More specifically, it's childhood trauma, and not even childhood trauma, but it's childhood trauma reinforced over the decades. And that is something that has informed my idea of my self-worth, and it's something that I am coming to grips with in therapy. And trying to figure out how to deal with. Mostly so that I can get out of my own goddamn way. I mean, really, that's what's going on. So like last night, for instance, I spent a good chunk of time meal prepping. Oh, speaking of meal preps, let me touch on that for a moment. The way I'd been doing meal preps is I'd been preparing lunch and dinners for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish. So 4 portions of 3 meals or each, and then Thursday and Friday, Saturday and Sunday, we'd either cook or go out. I'd usually leave like one night open, and then the other nights I'd plan to cook. And it was okay, but on a Thursday or Friday night, coming home after having the first 3 days of being, oh yay, all I have to do is heat something up. Yeah, it kind of made it tough to, as much as I would have enjoyed cooking, a lot of times by the time I get to the end of the week, I'm tired. I am worn slap out. And so we would eat out twice maybe, or we'd do a leftover night or something, not a big deal, or I wouldn't make what I was intending to make when I made my menu and my meal plans. This led to kind of wonky eating schedules, and it also led to food waste, because some of the things I would buy, either I wouldn't use and they would go bad, or because I pick up my groceries on Friday nights, by the time I would get to use them Friday, Saturday, or Sunday after, they might have gone bad after that, because it happens, you know? So I kind of had a ding light bulb moment this week. Another one. I know, I'm like 2 for 2. And that was that one of the things I tried before years ago was to do freezer prep meals. Whereas, you take, and you've probably seen these, but basically you load up a gallon size freezer bag with all the ingredients, or most of the ingredients you need for something that's going to go in the oven or the slow cooker or on the stovetop or something. And then, there might be like a note saying, add this, cook this long, this way. Well, we used to do that when we still had our Sam's and Costco memberships, basically, when we went down to Tallahassee more, because we don't have those nearby here. We would take advantage of being able to buy the meats in bulk and other things in bulk, and I would spend a weekend or a good day, a full day, putting those together, 15 or 20 of them to load up the chest freezer, and that worked okay, but I got out of the habit. Well, so today's brainstorm, light bulb moment, was that I could do half and half. I could do meal preps, as in prepared food in the fridge, ready to be reheated and consumed for the first 3 days, and then for 3 other meals later in the week, which meal prepping, they would not necessarily hold that whole time. I could do freezer meals, because not only do we have, of course we have a slow cooker still, and the oven and stove, but we have the Express Pot, which is the Crock-Pot brand version of the Instapot. We have a pressure cooker that will cook anything in half an hour or less, almost, unless we're talking about like a really big piece of solid meat. Yeah, we're talking half an hour or less. Duh. So yesterday, when I did meal preps, I did 3 sets of meals ready to eat, and 3 items that are ready to go in the Instapot for 3 other days. And yes, this cuts down on food waste, because I'm able to prep more of the more perishable items and put them straight into the freezer where they will hold. And it also cuts down on that, I gotta cook feeling after a long day. Like in those days we were spending in the garden, working our asses off, sweating our brains out. Yeah, I didn't want to cook on a Saturday night after that. But anyway, So, going back to the coloring book project. So yeah, so yesterday I spent several hours doing the meal preps. And by the way, doing the combined fresh and, you know, ready to eat and freezer meal thing really didn't take me any longer. So yeah, that was good. But yeah, so I get that done. I go and I like relax a little bit because, you know, that's like 4 hours of concentrated work on your feet, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, Todd made supper that night. We ate. And I was like, okay, now what? And I kept thinking, okay, I need to go work on the coloring book, or I need to work on one of the many projects, right? You know what I ended up doing? Making cookies at 11:30 at night, because sure, why not? By the way, if you've ever had like Mexican hot chocolate, or sometimes Mayan hot chocolate, or anyway, it's got the sweet and the heat and some cinnamon in it. Take whatever chocolate chip cookie recipe or chocolate chip cookie mix you have. Add cayenne pepper, some, cinnamon, some, and a little bit extra vanilla. Mwah. Chef's kiss, amazing. I will say they kind of came out kind of like a grayish brown. They have a grayer cast to them, so I almost, oh, there's a birdie. Sorry. Squirrel, only bird. Yeah, the color is a little strange because of the added spices, but man, they were good. Oh my gosh. I gotta kind of codify that recipe a little bit. But yeah, I just had a craving for chocolate chip cookies, and I knew I had a cookie mix in the pantry, and I was like, yes, we are going to make cookies because this makes sense at 11:30 on a Saturday night. And when you're procrastinating doing other things. I'm honest, right? I'm honest about it. So anyway, why am I procrastinating finishing the coloring book? Because of the self-promotion. Why is self-promotion so difficult? Because, in a nutshell, I think we all grew up being told, you know, not to brag about ourselves or what we've done or what we could do. And I think girls more often than boys got the message of don't put yourself out there, wait for somebody else to notice and let them do it. Oh, that's so damaging. So damaging when combined with other messages of just you not being enough, you know? If you're unfortunate enough to grow up with the people around you, namely like, you know, parents or influential adults around you, explicitly or implicitly telling you that seeking attention is bad, even when you need attention. If you heard the message that you weren't worth listening to, if you've had an adult say, oh, you know, I was just tuning you out, you know, I wasn't listening. If they weren't there, if they, you know, for whatever reason, intentional or not, you know, if they just weren't available, or they, and the care and nurturing was inconsistent, is what I'm learning. It makes it very difficult to have a high value of self-worth. And that value of self-worth, you don't feel like you are enough. You don't feel like you deserve to do the things, to be the person who says, hey, look what I did. This is awesome. I think you'd like it. And that's what I'm dealing with. And that's what I'm striving to overcome. You know, I started therapy mainly to get evaluated for ADHD and deal with that. But in addition to that, there's a lot of childhood trauma that was reinforced through the decades, and it's taking a lot of time to really get through that. And yet I'm really hopeful that it's possible. Things I've known and have begun to acknowledge even before I started therapy, I'm really kind of getting into, and if anything else, if nothing else, therapy has been incredibly validating in that it kind of cuts down on the internal monologue of, oh, you're making too much of it. Oh, you're overreacting. Oh, it wasn't that bad. Or, oh, that's not fair to judge them harshly. But it is. I mean, you know, it is. And I'm gradually getting there. So yeah, I have to push myself this week, really push myself this week to finish the coloring book pages and start the layout and do all the things. And then just take each step as it comes and remind myself that I have just as much right, just as much worth as anyone else to create something and put it out there and to be proud of it. To be proud of it and to say, hey, would you like this? Because, you know, there was one project in my history that I was able to do that without any qualms, and that was the cookbook. For those of you who may not know, I took 2.5 years to write, illustrate, and self-publish a comic book cookbook for gamers called What to Feature Reading Party. And after the 2.5 years it took to create it, mostly because of how long it took to finish all of the illustrations and comics that went with it, it's a 264-page monster of a project. I spent 3 years taking it around to comics and gaming conventions around the Southeast and selling it. And what allowed me to do that, I really believe, is that I was part of a community that was excited for the project. I didn't go to them saying, hey, look at me, I'm doing this, or I did this. We were already a part of the community actually before I started it. But they were so supportive. And that's kind of how I got to that realization that what was holding me back on so many other projects was not the not having community. Don't get me wrong. It's not that alone. It was that the community that surrounded me at the time that book was finished and I started to put it out was the type of reinforcement and support that everyone needs in their life in general. It's the type of support and reinforcement that we think of, you know, that children are supposed to get as children, that people are supposed to get as children, that their parents and relatives and schools are supposed to create, you know, enforce. And I honestly think that's why I was able to go and talk to strangers for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, to put myself out there to conventions, to say, hey, I wrote this book. Do you want me at your convention? Here, I'll do XYZ. Give me a table. It was what allowed me to be able to not be insulted or hurt when somebody said, yeah, no, it's not for me, which happened. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on up here so that I can, you know, do the stuff with the hands and the talkie talks and so forth. And I'm grateful for that community. We've kind of, you know, when we moved up to Thomasville, it became harder to engage with that community. But even then, I think the community was kind of shifting into different directions, and it was fine. It was fine. Yeah. But yeah, I am so grateful for that because it was the right place, the right time, the right moment, I think, for a lot of us. And I am so grateful for the friendships that I retain to this day from being part of that community. And I just have to remember going forward when I when I get to that point very soon where it's time to promote the coloring book or the next project or the next project, that I did it once, that I had that support, and I did not have to feel afraid or ashamed, that it's possible to put that work out there. Oh, flying thing. Yikes. Oh, there's flying things. Oh, this was a bad idea. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. Oh, wow. Oh my God, you guys, I don't even think I did my full intro. I'm suddenly realizing now, but oh well. We're gonna wrap this up soon because, yeah, the buzzy things are starting to get to me and I don't mess with them. Nature. I know. Good with the bad. I think, is there a little birdie nest in that tree? I don't know. Okay, I am getting really distracted now. Let's wrap this up. So anyway, ahead of me, I have 3 pages for the coloring book to finish. A cover, the layout, and then publishing. My goal is to get through those 3 pages, at least, this weekend. Or this coming week, not this weekend. This coming week. And then beyond that, start the layout. Get the layout ready. Get the book block done so that I can get that uploaded, get the right information for the dimensions of the cover. Just get it done. That's all I have to do, is get it done. That's the step now. The rest, I will do it as I get there. And I have to remind myself, this takes effort, guys. This takes so much effort. I have to remind myself not to be afraid to do the things, because I know I can do the things. I just have to remember that I don't have to be afraid, or that I don't have to avoid doing the things out of fear. That I am allowed to stand on my own 2 feet and stand in the knowledge and appreciation of my abilities and share those with others. That I have just as much right as anyone else to do that. And as I remind myself of that, I want to remind anyone watching this video that you too have just as much right to stand on your own 2 feet, to stand on your abilities and your talents and your skills, and to share those with others if you so choose. You're not under any obligation. You owe no one nothing. Did I say that right? Did I cancel that out? You don't owe anybody anything. Let's try that one. But true, you don't. But if you choose to create something, to be something, to do something, you have just as much right as anybody else to do it. So I'll remind you, and I'll remind myself, and we'll just keep on keeping on. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I didn't do my intro then, so I'm going to do it as my outro. This has been week 20-ish of Return to Creativity with Jennifer Vanderbeek of scrapsoflife.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you had a good week. If not, I hope you have a better one coming up. Bye.